Hi guys, Ryan here with another episode of the Space Update. Coming up on today's show, we have launch updates. We discuss the winning bid seat on New Shepard. Dream Chaser is coming to the UK, and lots of other space news, including not one but two very special guests coming up. I'll be announcing at the end of the show. Stick around for that. Before we get this show started, joining me on today's wonderful show is.
Hi there, I'm Rich LB, co-host of Becoming Multiplanetary. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Thanks for joining us, Rich. So we'll just dive right into it. Launch updates. We've got two Long March rockets from China scheduled tomorrow on Thursday the 17th. The main one in focus, though, will be Shenzhou 12, with those three Chinese crew heading up to the newly launched space station. Quite exciting, that one. It'll be interesting to see what work they're going to be doing up there. Probably installing I imagine the solar panels and other little bits, and probably prepping for the other little cargo bits, because I think that already been one cargo mission sent up there. So I think over the coming months or years even, we'll see that space station grow and grow and grow.
That's
very
right.
rapidly.
Yeah, we covered it not too long ago on the Humans in Space series. Actually, it's called the space station itself is called Tiangong, which translates to, I believe, Celestial Palace or Heavenly Palace. I'm not sure which translation is more accurate.
Yeah,
but
Harmony's Heavens or something like that. Yeah. But quite an interesting name. They always have wonderful names with hidden meanings behind. Always some goddess, or something else, which is always a running theme throughout the entire space community by the looks of it. And also on Thursday we have SpaceX launching GPS-3, which I believe will be live streaming right here tomorrow. If you guys want to tune in tomorrow, catch us there on that. I think it's correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, about 5 o'clock UK time for that one, I believe.
What I can actually do is I can check for you live right now, thanks to the magic of calendars. So bear with me. GPS-3. Let's have a look here. 5 p.m.
Yeah.
5 p.m. Yep.
Yeah. 5 p.m. on that one.
Mm-hmm. That's our time here in the UK, though.
Yeah. So we'll be live streaming that for everyone watching in right now. Catch us then. And also next week, got another SpaceX mission on the 24th of June. This one's another rideshare mission with SpaceX, deploying a whole range of satellites, CubeSats, and everything on the Transporter 2. Previous one had in excess of 90 or 100 little satellites, CubeSats, and all sorts on that. So again, I'd read the list out on this, but it'd just be longer, and we'll all be sitting here for about 15-20 minutes of just reeling out all the names. And I doubt you want to listen to all that on the launch updates, but obviously it's all up online and everything. You want to catch that. And 8's reuse on this booster as well. So again, another tried and tested booster, which is absolutely fantastic. But jumping on to our first topic, Blue Origin. As I probably know, seat on the first crewed flight of Blue Origin New Shepard suborbital vehicle sold for $28 million at auction on the 12th of June. Absolutely crazy amount. I don't know if I'd ever pay that much myself. Fair enough. If I had a couple 100,000, maybe I'd chuck a bucket or two at it and just do it. But suborbital, I'm not sure. Probably more inspiration for myself rather than that. But the live auction wrapped up with a bidding process that the company announced back on the May the 5th. To sell the seat on the flight scheduled for the 20th of July, that one. So only just coming up just about a month away, more or less, within reason. So a very short time period. So they haven't officially announced the bidding winner just yet. So what training has to be required leading up to that? Hopefully not too much, but I imagine there is something involved with that, with the other G-forces and the recovery and emergency procedures. So that'll be interesting to see. The process of a civilian going from putting the cash down on the table to going to launch next month is something a bit new, and it'll be quite exciting to see. And hopefully that can be actually documented by Blue Origin as that goes along, which will be quite interesting to see. But what do you make of it all, Rich?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm curious to who the winning bidder is, and I want to know what kind of person spends $28 million on something like this.
Elon?
So it's going to be really intriguing to see who the person is. That's assuming that I don't know if they'd be even able to disclose their identity throughout the entire process. I very much doubt it, but I'm assuming they're going to have to reveal themselves at some point pretty soon. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for sure.
Definitely, and obviously you got Jeff Bezos going up on there along with his brother, and there's a fourth mystery guest. We don't know who that is, but I'm assuming it'll just be one of the NASA astronauts that work very closely with Blue Origin, I imagine. So that'll be interesting to see who the fourth mystery guest is on that flight. But again, we spoke about this last week, but it's very bold to put yourself on your own company rocket within reason. It'd be like Elon going on the very first crewed flight of Starship within reason. He might still do that. We never know. He hasn't officially said it, but similar kind of thing. It's quite bold to put yourself on that rocket. Tried and tested, though.
How crazy would it be if the fourth mystery guest was Elon?
Doubt it will be. Jeff will just kick him out. Jeff will just kick him out the door before they come back down, I think.
Oh man, it'd be worth watching though.
Just that's to see, that's for winning the HLS contract.
thing is, right? If it is Elon and they do go in together, we need your narrative on this and be like, today in the NS Shepard capsule.
Oh yeah, but it'll be quite interesting to see that one. Really excited, and we don't have long to wait for that, so it'll be coming around in literally the next 5 to 6 weeks. For what we see in between that, hopefully we'll see something, because we don't see anything much on the New Shepard, New Glenn and everything. Obviously the bigger rocket and everything, but. Obviously, we had the announcements from NASA on the Venus missions finally returned to Venus and everything, the 2 new missions. But now we've got an extra one from European Space Agency, who was selected a Venus orbiter as the next medium-class science mission. Just a week after NASA's announced this section of 2 Venus missions on its own. ESA announced on the 10th, just a few days ago, that Envision will be the agency's next M-class or medium-class science mission. The orbiter will carry a suite of spectrometers, sounders, and radar to study the planet's interior, surface, and atmosphere, similar to what NASA's doing, probably just a little bit extra in some way or another. But it's all 3 missions from NASA ESA, essentially assessing Venus, how it became what it is, how this solar system work, and hypothetically, if we let Earth go rag to ruin, would we end up like that in 1,000 to 2,000 years time, or would we end up like a waste barren land like Mars? It'd be quite interesting to see. But the solar orbiter will launch no earlier than 2031, so a little bit of time to go, 10 years, so a little bit of time to go on this one. It'll be launched on the European Space Agency's new Ariane rocket. Obviously, in 10 years' time, it'll be done a few flights in between then. So the new Ariane 6 rocket's well underway in development, so we'll be seeing that new rocket scheduled later this year, along with Vulcan and Starship and everything else. A lot going on this year with rocket-wise. But including the mission assessment study, projected a launch during a 1-month window that opens in late May 2023. So that'll be roughly the launch date for this one. It'll be quite exciting. Then obviously it's got to get to Venus and everything. But another mission to Venus, more the merrier, I'll say. But hopefully we'll find a lot of interesting things. I'm just waiting to hear from Russia on landing back on Venus again.
Yeah, well, the thing is, right, the intriguing thing about looking at Venus is if we manage to, because Venus is great for a playground, right, a scientific playground, because it has a runaway greenhouse effect. So if you basically manage to do something where you can try and reverse this effect on Venus, then you can take that infrastructure, take it to Earth, and it will help with the climate here too. So climate science, there's a treasure of information of climate science to be held at Venus. So it's very exciting for climate scientists for sure.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll find a lot of valuable data when they finally get there, albeit 5 or 10, 15 years down the line. And again, once we get that data, it's going to take another 5, 10, 15 years to analyze that data. So albeit way in the future, it still is quite exciting at this moment in time. But absolutely amazing. And obviously we've got Rocket Lab as well. I think they were the first ones to put that out there. I think last year or the year before, missions to Venus. So no doubt there'll be another 4 or 5 missions from Rocket Lab. Even SpaceX might get involved as well.
I think they've actually said they're going to do a couple of Photon class to Venus, haven't they?
Yeah, and they officially just said as well they're going to do a few missions towards Mars as well. So not too much detail on that, but we'll be bringing that to you next week. More details on the Rocket Lab and their missions to Mars with Photon. So that's another exciting one to look forward to. There's a lot going on with Rocket Lab as well. But back here in the UK, news on Dream Chaser. It's been long in the works, this one, the little crew vehicle. Sierra Space, as it's now named, from Sierra Nevada Corporation or Company. The new space update of Nevada Space get it right, Sierra Nevada Corporation. God. Announced June the 9th that it signed an initial agreement with the British spaceport that could lead to landings of the company's Dream Chaser vehicle here in the UK, which would be absolutely fantastic. Returning crew from the International Space Station to right back to the UK, or even vice versa, potentially at some point in the future launching from the UK. Fingers crossed. Whether we have a big enough rocket to do that by then, who knows. But Sierra Space signed a memorandum of understanding, or MOU, with Spaceport Cornwall, expressing support of future landings of the Dream Chaser at Spaceport, also known as Cornwall UK Airport in southwestern England. The MOU came after Sierra Space performed a study supported by the UK Space Agency, evaluating all the feasibilities of using spaceports for Dream Chaser landings. The lift and body vehicle is designed to glide, essentially like the Space Shuttle within reason. It's just a micro version of that. And I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of autonomous flight technology built into that, like we see on the Dragon capsule and everything. But absolutely fantastic for the Dream Chaser and B, the uprising UK space race.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole concept is that the vehicle is designed to land on a stretch of runway, so it also offers another option to the table about the kind of vehicles that we can use to go to space. And we can start to assess efficiencies of different methods and compare and contrast, and from there, space vehicle design will just launch away.
Yeah, definitely. But this is going to be launched on the vehicle is going to be launched on the Atlas V that's currently in operation. It's going to be currently filling in for the Vulcan Centaur. That's been delayed for a little while, so there you can see it. The edge of the wings actually tuck in the fairing until it's actually launched on that mighty second stage, and then the wings will open up and everything on the Dream Chaser vehicle. So Atlas V filling in for probably a bit longer for Starliner, a bit longer for Dream Chaser before Vulcan Centaur comes online. It's just on the topic of ULA, just going on from that. It doesn't look like Vulcan Centaur is coming online until 2022 by the sounds of murmuring of things that I'm hearing, engine problems, and with those supposedly really good BE4 engines.
Yeah, well, I guess at this point it's one of those things. It happens when it happens, and Godspeed to them and all the best to them for when they do launch.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, jumping onto SpaceX a little bit here, there's hasn't been too much launch-wise obviously going on. Myself, Rich, and everyone else on the team, and everyone probably watching this has probably been watching like a BDI of the corner of their eye, watching Boca Chica there. SN16's just rolled out the high bay But what they're doing with it, I don't really know. I don't believe there's any heat tiles on it or anything on the underside of it. So whether they use it, whether they scrap it, or whether they're just going to orbital launch it and obliterate it and just use it for R&D, who knows? Or whether they might actually just try and do an extra flight or two, just to get that extra bit of data for the engines. Because I think the biggest problem with the Super Heavy booster, I think it's BN2 or 3 they've got there now. They have a little bit of a challenge, I'd say. Lighten 3 engines, 28. 1 or 2 engines, it's just going to stop it, and then I have to change them over. Do another static fire. Hang on, another 1 or 2 are not working now. We're going to swap them over. Test it again. Hang on, that one's not behaving itself because we've done that to that now. We're going to change that over. So, although it's a fantastic idea, 28 engines gives you 28 probably 1,000 problems, or if not more.
The whole point of having that many engines, though, is that there is multiple points of failure. So I assume you would still be able to, with 1 or maybe 2 burnouts, still achieve mostly what you're trying to do.
Yeah,
so,
especially in the test stage, as long as they get somewhere near orbit. Worst case scenario, they could just splash down off the coast of Boca Chica somewhere. Worst case scenario, if it doesn't quite make it to orbit, it should be quite interesting to see.
They'll do an impromptu submersible test.
Yeah. But with it being reasonably airtight, I imagine it'll just bob on the surface. And I so want them to light up those engines, just scoot across the surface back to the shore. It's essentially like a speedboat, then, won't it? Or a hyper speedboat, if you like. But there's obviously back at Boca Chica itself, we saw construction on the orbital launch pad. All the structures being launched put up on there. I think it's on the fifth or sixth structure being mounted up there. But there's still a lot more to do. They've got to attach all that, probably a few more on top of that to get to the full height for the Super Heavy booster and everything. But then they've got to put the crane on top of it. They've got to put all the fixings and everything else on it. All the ground systems for the fueling and all the tech lines for the flight computers for the booster, Starship, and everything else, and just everything. So I think that's a launch window of June, July's out the window well and truly. I'd say at the very earliest August if you're lucky, but that'd be pushing it, I think.
Well, we've seen them pull stuff out the bag before. So I would say, whilst it is certainly unlikely, I wouldn't say it's too far away.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see what they're doing, because they seem to be just coasting away now. They're be rapidly testing and everything like that. I think the main thing that's holding them up now is that orbital test stand and everything, or the orbital launch stand, if you like. Until that's done, they can't really carry on racing ahead like they are and everything, and doing the tests and everything. But we could potentially see the Super Heavy booster on one of the other stands, maybe doing minor tests and then lifted onto the orbital test stand when that's ready. But whether it's worth doing that, I don't know, to be honest with you. But,
you've got to think of whether the static fire would hamper the engines. The actual procedure itself, which is not ideal because you don't want the engines to be one and done. But they need to fire them to find these things out.
Yeah. And we did have a question earlier on from Rick, just to backtrack a little bit here. To just mention what it does to compare the Blue Origin's 28 million to Inspiration 4. What would you make of that, Rich? I'll let you go first on that.
Personally, in my opinion, I wouldn't even compare the two. What Inspiration 4 stands for is something totally different to the NS launch. It's like comparing apples and pears. In my personal opinion, I think Inspiration 4 should be applauded for what it is trying to do. And it's certainly an event that everybody should watch. And but at the same time, don't get me wrong, I'll be really interested to find out who the donor is. However, it has been said that the donor or the winning bidder can nominate somebody else to go for them on their behalf. So
Yeah.
we may not find out who they are.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that Blue Origin did opt for the bidding system of putting someone on there rather than just to randomly put it out like the Dear Moon thing that SpaceX got going on and everything. But obviously, different situation, different. Obviously, this Dear Moon was already prepaid by everyone and all that, so it's a slightly different situation. But it's quite interesting that 28 million for a seat on New Shepard. It's only just going to the tippy top of the Kármán line, but nevertheless, to get to the edge of space is just phenomenal. And you're turning into the Hulk there, Rich.
Yeah,
Hulking out.
the wormhole is starting to interfere with the camera, I think.
Oh, we're losing you a bit there.
Have Ryan's face. There we go.
My beautiful face. But just to slowly wrap this up, I did mention a few announcements there at the start. The announcements that we do have are absolutely phenomenal, to be honest with you. Astral Scale, well known for their R&D in planning on doing the debris removal for communication satellites. Got absolutely, I believe, 2.5 million funding from the UK Space Agency, joint with the European Space Agency and everything. So we're going to have them on the show, literally doing the recording tomorrow, and then that'll be released hopefully next week or the week after, and everything. So that's one to look forward to. And the second one, just slightly more in the works on the same topic of debris removal, the UK Space Agency. We'll be speaking with them on the debris removal and the 800,000 funding available for, I believe, the UK Space Agency companies. I believe, I don't know how far stretching that is, but we'll be able to put the question to the UK Space Agency.
So one thing I would say on this ahead of time is, if you're watching this right now and you have a solid design concept and able to prototype something that can take debris from orbit, even if it's as small as a nanosat, then you should throw your application in, and we can tell you more about that in a later episode with them. But definitely look it up. If you do have a solution, you should put it in. The UK Space Agency is looking for solutions from all walks of life.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, we're going to have them on the show, so we'll get in depth on that. Me and Rich will be there and everything. But this one on the UK Space Agency, it's not just companies. It's if you're at university, if you're at school, if you're just starting up a business, whatever it may be, as long as it's associated with debris removal or along those lines, you can apply to the UK Space Agency for that funding. We're going to have them on the show to run through all of that, and you guys will have the opportunity to ask questions. And Patreons of Total Space, you can literally come on the show and ask the questions to the UK Space Agency or Astral Scale got on tomorrow. You can come on, ask the questions in person. No middleman, no in between, nothing. You just come on the show, ask them yourself, person to person. That's the way we like to do things around here. And it's just give you the opportunity to speak to the person. But yeah, thanks for joining us today, guys. We'll just wrap that up. If you'd like to support what we do, head over to patreon.com/total space. Like our newest Patreons this month, Michael Mars and Ryan McDonald. Yeah, you can get early access to episodes, chat with special guests like Sky Aurora, that we've previously had on the show, and Astral Scale coming up, and UK Space Agency. And you can join our Discord community and lots of other exclusive content. That's patreon.com/total space. And as always, like, subscribe right here on YouTube, Odyssey, wherever you're watching this or listening to it. Follow us, like us, subscribe, and whatever else it is. Tweet, follow us. I don't know everything, but that's all for this week's episode. I've been Ryan from the Space Update.
I've been Rich LB, representing Team Worms Spaceflight Info. Thanks for having us.
Thanks very much, guys. Catch you next week.